Hi everybody, this is Abong. I am a CPA, personal finance, as well as small business champion, and I'm the author of the new business book, Start Me Up the No Business Plan, Business Plan. Again, this is economics, one of the principles of economics, and the whole goal of economics is to give you tools, tips, suggestions, motivation, a mindset that changes your life, okay? And economics has three main focuses and three main areas. It's your mindset, right, getting into a place where it needs to be in order for you to grow. Your mission, figuring out what your mission is in life. Like, what am I doing in my life? Like, what am I supposed to do in order to attain, in order to be happy and find contentment and pleasure in my life? That matters, because when you're in a good place, you do good things. When you're in a bad place, you do bad things. It's simple. We all have friends like that who keep screwing up. They're in a bad place. It's fairly simple. People who are doing good, Mother Teresa's not going out drinking, doing cake stands, right? Mother Teresa is in a good place mentally and emotionally and spiritually, so she can do good things, because it's congruent. The last is your money. So again, talking about my book, talking about how to teach you to take control of your economy and get you to a new level, a higher level in your life, so that you can make more money, take care of your family, worry about your economy and not about what goes on in the grand scheme of the economy. Recent 60 Minutes talked about how the stock market is rigged. I'm going to have a different economics portion about that and about how you can take control of your economy in that sense. But I want to tell you that the economy and stock market doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with you, right? What matters is, are you producing enough money so that you can take care of your family and what's going on in your life? So what I do with economics is I use what's going on in the news, what's going on in sports, what's going on in life, and I try to apply it to business in a variety of ways, as well as your mindset and your mission. But this one's about business right now. Now, if some of you have watched, if you're hiding in a cave, it's not your fault. Most likely you're not watching this. But if you haven't heard of Johnny Manziel, something's going on with you. Like, you're not paying attention. So Johnny Manziel is also known as Johnny Football, former Heisman Trophy winner. He won a Heisman Trophy as a sophomore. First guy to ever win it as a sophomore. Okay. Well, actually, he was a freshman, redshirt. And he played for Texas A&M University football in the SEC conference. And basically, this guy like captivated the nation. You know, can look loose play, run all over the place, wheeling and dealing, making plays happen with his feet as well as his arm. And he decided to leave Texas A&M to go to the NFL draft. Now, to give you a little bit of context here, this is what happens with people who aren't familiar with football. Even if you're known to be the number one pick and you're the best player or whatever in football, you have something called a combine, the NFL combine, which basically is like a meat market where people literally, it's like slavery almost, but I'm not trying to go there. But I'm just saying, like, all these guys come there wearing tight-ass clothes. They go there, they measure them, they weigh them, they interview them, they run different drills, they time them, and they put them into this computer and they figure out where they're at, and that's how people figure out who they're going to draft and why, that kind of thing. Some of the people who are higher prospects don't go to the combine, because it's a meat market, all right? They want to go to a more controlled environment. So what they do is they have something called NFL Pro Days, which is for certain types of prospects. So the Pro Day is like a combine, but just for you. And you usually do it at your university, wherever you played at. They'll take the indoor facility, set it up real quick, real nice. If you're a quarterback, you're doing different drills, doing footwork drills, things that are indicative of your skills, that shows off your skills, right? Doing different types of passes, pass routes, whatever else. So there's a bunch of quarterbacks coming out, but the three big ones that people are considering who can take number one, or who's going to be the first quarterback taken, is Johnny Manziel, Blake Bortles from, I think, University of South Florida or Central Florida. Okay, nobody cares, but UCF, so University of Central Florida. The other one is Teddy Bridgewater from Louisville University. Okay, these three quarterbacks. So the first two, Teddy Bridgewater and Blake Bortles, both had their pro days already, like a month ago, a few weeks ago, and it was good, and there's some drawbacks here, some things are there. Let me add some more context to this too. What usually happens in these pro days is they don't come in shoulders and pads. They look like regular guys at the gym. They're wearing the tight T-shirts, okay, with their school name on it, and they're wearing shorts and running shoes. That's how it is. And you do your drills, and you do your passes, and you do all your stuff in shirts and a T-shirt, right? Which is obviously you don't play in that, so it's whatever. Johnny Manziel had his pro day recently. You know what he did? I'm not talking about all the fanfare. I'm not talking about former President George W. Bush watching. I'm not talking about them playing new Drake songs in the whole facility, playing rap music while they're doing the drills. I'm not talking about the 8 or 9 or 10 different NFL representatives who showed up at the combine to watch GMs as well as coaches, and to some people they call it a circus. I'm not talking about all the people. I'm not talking about ESPN showing, devoting the time to watch the Johnny Manziel combine. Johnny Manziel came out in shoulders and shoulder pads and a helmet. He did all his drills in shoulder pads and helmet when he didn't have to. And when he was asked by the NFL Network why he did, he said, well, that's how we play, isn't it? That was freaking brilliant. Now, here's how it applies to your business. And you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? Why are you wasting my time? This is how it applies to your business and to also your life. But we're talking business right now. Very simple. He found out, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, found out what the other two people were going to do, and he upped the ante. You understand what I'm saying? The other two guys, Teddy Bridgewater, Blake Bortles, they can't have another pro day. They said, oh, crap. Johnny Manziel came out in shoulders and pads and was nearly flawless with his passing, flawless with his footwork, flawless with everything he was doing. There's a multitude of things that he did. He one-upped everyone else by doing that. Now, here's the thing, how it applies to you specifically. Well, actually, there's a few things. I want to tell you how this particular thing applies to you specifically. It's very simple to your pricing. The minimum was the average was what everybody else was doing. The other two quarterbacks was average. They were doing average stuff. Everything was average, the same. All right, let's go home. He took it up to another level. He got attention. You had to pay attention to him. That's from a sales perspective and marketing and content. The second thing was from pricing perspective. He gave you everything that you expected, but then he got even more. He said, why? Why? We play in shoulders and pads. You saw him do amazing things in shoulders and pads while the other two guys were doing shirts and shorts. There's no comparison. He separated himself from everyone else, the people he called his competition. It wasn't about pricing. It wasn't about the average passing. That was a given. We expected to see that. But he did it in a more challenging and difficult environment. Shoulders and pads. So I wrote down these principles of things you need to think about as it relates to Johnny Manziel in your business. So the first thing, he came out in shoulders and pads and exceeded expectations. So when you start your business and you're worried about pricing, charge the same price as your next competitor that you were able to identify and then exceed their expectations. So, hey, sir, we'll be able to give this to you in a week. Give it to them in 3 days. Oh, my gosh, this is great. They will pay you. They'll pay you on time. They'll probably pay you sooner than that because they're happy. And then give them a little bit more than what they expected. A little bit more. Doesn't take any more effort for you, but to give them a little bit more. They may not charge you. They may not pay you extra for that little bit more, but they'll come back to you. James Altucher, great author, says the same thing in his book, Choose Yourself. Exceed expectations. Don't be average like everyone else. People who are average are forgotten. They're replaceable. They're the ones who make minimum wage. They're the ones who aren't making any money. And you're average, you make it like everyone else. You're no different than the next guy. Johnny Manziel is not average. Rap music. Former President Bush. Shoulder pads and helmet. While everyone else are t-shirts and shorts. Remember that. Other thing that he did, Johnny Manziel did, was great. He took responsibility for his past. So you make mistakes in your business and your customers are like, I don't know. Take responsibility. The biggest sign of maturity in a person is when you take responsibility for what happens to you and what you've done that's happened to others. The biggest sign of maturity. When you can own your stuff, when you own your stuff and you own it, it's easier for you to get past that and get respect from others. You try that one time, I guarantee you it works. People are just like, oh, wow, you own your own stuff. Own your own stuff. As a business, if you make a mistake for a client, you make a mistake for a customer, own it. You know what, Mr. Jones? You know what, Mrs. Jenkins? We apologize for what happened. It won't happen again. We're working to put systems in place so that never happens to you again. We're going to take care of this as soon as possible. No one wants to hear excuses. We're used to hearing excuses from people. And those are for people who aren't mature in their thought life. They're not mature in their lives. They're not mature in their business. And they make excuses for everything else. It's always somebody else's fault. Own it. Doesn't matter. If you're the guy who's running or the girl who's running the business, own it. Very simple. And the third is, he saw what everybody else did and went over and above. And I talked about this a little bit earlier, right? He showed that he found out what everybody else did, and then he just said, oh, I'm going to surpass this. It's really simple. And here's a perfect little thing I'm going to leave you, a little analogy I want to leave you with that you can think about this. Okay, Roger Bannister. Some of you probably heard of him. Roger Bannister. Before Roger Bannister, people had thought that you could not run a mile in under 4 minutes. Right? There's no way you can run a 4-minute mile. There's no way. And until Roger Bannister came, and he was the first person to run under a 4-minute mile. And after that happened, almost over 20,000 people, even high school kids, have beaten that because they knew it was possible. Not only did they know it was possible, they wanted to go over and above. They believed that what they were doing was right. They had conviction in what they're doing. So in your business, if you have conviction and you believe what you're doing is right, so when you're presenting your product or your service to your customer and you actually believe in your heart that your product or service is the best thing for them, it will come through in the way you talk, the way you walk, the things you say, the way you dress, how they receive it. They'll know you have their best interest at heart. You got to come from that place. Johnny Manziel, despite all the doubters, knew that he was the best. He said, you know what, I need to prove, I already know I'm the best, but I'm not paying myself to play in the NFL. NFL teams are. So you know what I have to do? I have to take it to another level. This is next level, fourth quarter, next level thinking. This is not average, the first two quarterbacks. They're great quarterbacks, but this is not at the average. All that stuff was average. I'm taking it to another level. I'm coming out in helmet. I'm coming out in shoulder pads. I'm wearing the full gear. I got Nike swoosh from head to toe. I'm playing Drake music. I got the former President Bush sitting out there. I got 8 or 9 NFL coaches. The people who skipped that feel bad that they didn't make it. Because they missed out on not only a show, they missed out on the ability to meet and interview and talk to a kid that most likely will be the first quarterback taken in the 2014 NFL draft. So for your business, it's relatively simple. Principles of economics apply here. All you need to do is find out what everybody else is doing, meet it, and exceed it. Again, meet it and exceed it. Secondly, don't charge based on what everybody else is charging. You have to start, and then you surpass, meet and exceed. You have to believe what you're doing is right. You have to believe what you're doing is possible, so there's conviction in that. The second principle. You have to remember that what you're doing and what you're working on is more important to providing the best customer service and products to your customers so that they will believe in you because you have conviction in what you're doing. So remember, it's relatively simple. Johnny Manziel, what he did with the pads and everything, it was phenomenal. And I want to thank you for watching. Stay tuned again for the workshops that are coming up. Stay tuned for more videos like this. These are principles of economics. This is the ability for you to take control of your own economy, turn your life around financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and create a mission of your life. You can leave a legacy behind because, again, have a sense of urgency in what we're doing on this earth. I want to implore you and motivate you, but also give you the tools to maintain and be sustainable across what you're doing. Again, remember that Johnny Manziel, what he did is phenomenal. You go find it on Google and read it. But this applies to your life and it applies to your business. It's relatively simple. Meet and exceed. Meet it and exceed it. Plain and simple. Again, in life, chances aren't given, chances are taken. So you have to be bold and go get it.